Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to my channel. It's what time check 7:25. So I'm I'm still kind of sleepy and all my di pa, I ironed this one already. It's still a little bit crumpled. But anyways, all my storage it's already full. So I need to delete a lot of videos here and photos here because it's already full. So later on I'm gonna do that. But today I need to be in a hurry because today I'm a little bit earlier today than the usual time. Um, so sometimes it's always change our shift. So mostly we don't have permanent time. But I know I have my permanent time, but recently it moved to the it moved to some different time, but this time they moved me to another time again, and so I need to adjust, so it become more a little bit earlier than the usual time. So I need to be in a hurry, guys. Okay, so I'll just be with you in a very short time. So how are you doing, guys? So I'll just do some quick quick on my face. So I will not just it's still a little bit crumpled. Anyway, it's okay. But anyways, should I put some? I felt like I wanna add something on my face today, so I will add some. I will add some color on my face. Okay, so I felt like I wanna put some color on my face. Um, I wanna put some green. Color green. I haven't used this one for a while, but I'm gonna use it now. And then we're ready to go. Okay? But beforehand, I'm gonna put this one. So how's your day going on? It's already, winter. Almost, no. It's not yet winter time, but it's autumn time. Because if it's winter time, I cannot wear this one in the house. I need to really wear some jackets on. Because this house is very cold during winter time. Because even though there's no snow, it's not snowing here in Japan. There's no snow here in this area. But some part of the area, some part in somewhere there, somewhere north, in there's snowing there and so super cold. But this area, there's no snow, no snow. It's not snowing, but it's so super duper cold. You know the difference of that. So I need to put something on my. I'm still a little bit sleepy right now, guys. So super duper sleepy. I was so tired. I did a lot of work, so I was so busy this week. So super duper busy. Excuse me. I'm sneezing. Hi, my name is. Hi, my favorite. Oh, hi there, Ginger Chef. Why do you always call me Ginger Chef? Where's my mirror? How are you? I'm good. I'm a little bit sneezing. So I'm going to add this one here. Oh, what? What time is it there? It's 6:30. It's 7:30, I believe. Oh, this one scattered. It's scattered. Oh my gosh. I need some. It really scattered. It's gonna have a little bit of water here, so I'm just gonna. You know, have you seen the news in Philippines? It was oh my god, that happened to my face. It was really terrible, you know. I have some green on my face. It was actually terrible because um it's a pretty strong, you know. It's pretty strong typhoon. Actually, it made all everything. You know, it was a very strong typhoon, and it made a lot of trouble in the Philippines. It destroyed a lot of houses, bridges, floods. It caused a lot of floods actually, and it was so dangerous. And I was scared about my house, so because it was close to my house, so all the surroundings in my house, it was partly broken or partly some areas there was a lot of flood actually. So I was a little bit worried about my house, but um, I I asked everyone. I asked everyone about it, and they told me there's nothing wrong within my house, within the vicinity of my house. So, you know, I was a little bit thankful because nothing happened in my house, but I was a little bit sad because of the other people. You know, other people had some, you know, they were victims of the typhoon, a lot of victims of the typhoon, and a lot of people, actually a lot of people died. And of course it's natural calamity. Will you go home and check? Well, I tried to go home. I tried to go back home. I was supposed to fly, um probably if something happened, I was supposed to fly, but when I asked them to check on it, and they said there's nothing wrong with the with my place, so I don't need to fly. So thankfully, but actually I was a bit worried with my in my house. So because some of the people nearby, I heard some of the roofs were, you know, were torn apart by the wind, by the typhoon. It was really strong, and everybody was, you know, everybody they don't have water. They don't have water up to now, but the electricity went back. Are your family okay? They're not okay actually, but they're not okay, especially the relatives, all my relatives around my place, because they live nearby. They don't some of front one of their front yard was badly broken, and some of their neighbor as well, my other relatives as well, their roof were torn apart, and it was really blown away by by that wind, by the typhoon. It was really disaster. I was really like, you know, I thought it was just a pretty typhoon, like it's a natural typhoon, but it caused a lot of trouble. It caused a lot of big calamity, and there was a lot of flood everywhere, and landslide. A lot of houses were buried under the soil. Maybe you should go home and help out. Oh, I cannot help it because I might lose my job as well because I'm going back home in the Philippines, and it's gonna be a long vacation for me. So if this time I went back home, not unless if it's emergency, I cannot help it. But if I will just help other people, and I will just um leave my work behind, it's not a reason, it's not a proper reason for my work, because my career, of course, it's really good to help other people as well, but I'm not in the position to help other people. I'm not so super duper rich, guys. I'm not in the position. I'm not in the government. Not unless I'm in a government official, or I mean, in a charity works. Of course, I would like to help, but if I'm able to, if of course I would, if I go back home, I'm going to help some other people in a very small way, as long as I can. But this time I cannot able to help them because I might lose my job, or it's really dangerous, right? It's not really not in a good um not a good time to go back home, not unless it's so important, not unless it's really like emergency like that. But if my boss knew or find out that I'm helping other people and you're just leaving your work behind, they will just gonna be like, what the heck are you doing, like that. So of course they will appreciate it. A lot of people are gonna appreciate that, but there's a time for that, and some other people as well, they're helping those people because it's a really super it's a big responsibilities. You cannot able just to help them, or you can able just to feed them or give them something, but some other people, there were all the things were left behind, where it's like totally zero, like underground, like it's what's totally crushed by the landslide. So it was terrible, and the most sad thing that happened to them was they lost some they lost some loved ones, and that is the most difficult thing to accept. That, so, things, you can replace it, you can replace those houses, you can replace those appliances, those things, those chairs, those tables, but if you lost someone, it's it is unreplace, you cannot replace it. Okay, so that's the bad thing about that. So I'm very thankful that my family and my relatives were okay, and I was really like super duper worried about my house because I just bought my house near that place. Sorry for the losses. Yes, of course, yes. And I always pray. Whenever I heard those bad news that somebody lost their loved ones, I always pray. Because they said, even though you don't know those people, just always sign off a cross or just pray, because it will help a lot. It will help those souls, because they said those souls were somewhere else, and they needed some help, or they needed some prayers for them to go up to the heaven. So that's their belief. I call you Ginger because your hair is ginger. Okay, but anyways, um that's the thing. So I always sign of a cross whenever I heard some bad stories about those people who died or they lost their life. So anyways, there's a lot of people, even kids, even small babies, even newborns were among those victims of those landslides actually. So it was pretty bad. So when you see the news, if you happen to see the news, it was really like super duper, like I was totally shocked, and I didn't know about that. I heard I've heard about the typhoon, but I didn't know it was that pretty strong. And everybody was also surprised because they thought it was just a small typhoon, or just they will just bring a small amount of water or rain, something like that. But it pours a lot of rain actually, especially to those mountain area or nearby the sea. It was really like I don't watch news. Oh my god, you have to, you just check on it, and you will be so surprised about those videos, those footages. It just, it's just bad news all the time. Yes, of course, it, because it's for news, you know, it's not gonna be news if there's no news, right? So that's why they're covering the news, if they're, you know, they're sharing the news because there's a bad news actually. So mostly it's gonna be so bad, it's gonna be all about bad news. So that's why, you know, if you just be aware or of your surrounding, like what's going on before and after, you know, you have to be aware of that. So sometimes you have to be updated with the news or what's going on in your country, what's going in the world, what's going on in your place. You have to check on it about that. So anyways, when I check about it, and I was just, I was so busy with my job, with my work, so I was totally focused on my job. So I just heard about the news before. How long you been in Japan? I was been here for such a long time, you know, since I was young. But anyways, regarding about the typhoon, so I thought about that. So I heard about that before, and I thought it was just a pretty small typhoon, and then afterwards I heard, like, you know, even my, because my cousins, my relatives doesn't told, they never told me about the typhoon, that it was ever, it was a strong typhoon, and they were like panicking, or they had something, but there was something bad happening in their places, and I was just like, I was just I just, it just happened that I asked them about my house, and I was just like, hey, do you have any, do you have any news about my house, or what's the current situation about my house, or are there something happened, is there something wrong happened between my house or something like that. And they were just like, you know what, there we had something bad happen here, because we almost broke our front yard, and the houses, the nearby houses, our, some of our relatives were torn apart, their roof were torn apart, even our neighbors were torn apart. And I was just like, oh, what the heck, because it was just close to my house. So I was just like, oh my god, how about my house, you know, what will happen to my house. I was so bad, and I told them to check on it, but they told me they cannot go near my house. Where's my okay. So they told me they cannot go near my house because, you know, I have some security in my house. It was fully, it was a private property in my house, and they cannot just go there and just check on it, because there is no they don't have any permission to go there. Stop dropping things. Sorry about that. But anyways, you know, and then afterwards I was just like, okay, but somebody can just check it out somewhere else, or like, you know, just from outside, or just ask somewhere else, some neighbors, or some, you know, even in my security, or even at the front, if some flood happened in my house. So if there's some flood happened in my house, or something happened in my house, I'm just gonna fly there and just had a quick trip to my house, or just have a quick check on my house and things going on, and I'm gonna check it out, what happened to my house, and things went, if things went wrong, I would just escape in my work for just like a week or just a few days. So it depends if it's an emergency. So of course my company, my workplace gonna allow me to just check on my things, right? If it's so super duper emergency, they cannot help it, they cannot help it actually, they cannot stop it. But anyways, it's a good thing nothing happened to my house. And I also check on my realtor in the company that I bought my house, and they said nothing happened, there's nothing wrong with the house, because our house were built on a very high level ground, so it was not affected by the flood. So it is a good thing that I bought my house in that area, so there's nothing wrong with that. But actually it was my vision, it was actually my vision before, when before I checked to buy my house, before I happened to buy my house, I already thoroughly check about the vicinity of the area, if there's some flood going on, or if it's like a low level area in the house, because it's really dangerous. If you buy some properties, you have to check about the background or the surroundings of your place. You have to check if it's nearby the lake or nearby the water, nearby the sea. So if it's gonna be not like, we had blood floods recently, oh my gosh. And if you live nearby the sea or near the the lake, or with some water area, it's gonna be gonna have a problem, not soon but later on. Not like, probably if it's not a flooded area, but something gonna happen. Watch out, the squatters take over your case. No, they cannot go to my property because it was fully surrounded by, there was a fence towards all the community, towards my house. Over my house there was a big fence actually. So nobody can come or get close to my house, or can just occupy the space of our houses or our neighbors, because it was really fully fenced. There's a lot of fences there, and it was fully guarded. So it's really fully secured. Your vision with CCTV. It's not just a CCTV, but it's really like fully secured. So I'm I have no worry about that. So even though so I was really super duper grateful and thankful, and also really thank God for everything, because not everyone has a good luck. Everybody's right now, they have, even though it's a subdivision, even though they live in a very expensive, exclusive subdivision, or exclusive place, or expensive place, um they were affected by the flood actually. So the water level goes right to their roof. It was like you cannot barely see their roof anymore. It was just like full of water. It was like a sea level. It's kind of a sea actually. So it was like, oh my god, it's unbelievable. Yes, I'm truly blessed. My house actually, it's not that expensive. It's not that expensive that I bought my house. So the area was not among the vicinity, among those places, it was not a very expensive place, but it was so super. I was really super duper shocked, because it's not a super duper, it's not a billionaire place, it's not a expensive place, but we're really super duper safe than anybody else. Some other places, it's much more expensive than my area, but we're so super fully secured and safe than to compare to other places, because their places were like super duper, they spend a lot of money for that area, for that place, for their houses, like, but it was drowned by the flood. So it was under the water, and it was oh my god, it was so unbelievable, and I was so thankful, because I didn't spend so much money for that, just to have a secured place or have a safety place. But my place is kind of like your, it's a very safe, and oh my god, untouchable. It was like, even though my house, it wasn't, but of course my house were built by Japanese engineers, and the owner of that house, the owner of that area, were built by the Japanese. So I was really super secured, because even though here in Japan, the houses here were built so very strong, even the typhoon, even the strong earthquake can handle it actually. So the walls here in Japan is kind of just a thin walling. You just can barely see it. So super duper thin, but it was very built. Um it was built very strong. It's not about all about it's not about all, let's say you compare to a thick walling or thin walling, but it depends on the strong. It depends on the strength of your quality, or the quality of your house, or how they build it. But when I thoroughly check about the background of my company, of my realtor, about the engineers of my house, and I heard and I read about that it was built by Japanese contractors or engineers, something like that. So I was just like, okay. So when I heard about that news that, you know, something happened to the neighbors, like it was blown away or it was just like something happened to their houses, I was fully confident with my house. Although it came from, you know, it was built by an, you know, by Japanese engineers, it wasn't that, you know, it wasn't that expensive though. But at the time it was not expensive at the time. But right now the value of my house became a little bit expensive right now because of the value in Philippines. It tends to, you know, it tends to become very expensive, you know. It tends to jump a little bit higher each year. So, you know, if you compare the price before and after, it's a little bit different, you know. So that's why you have to invest, especially in the house in Philippines, because if sometimes, you know, you buy it, like you purchase it for such a very small amount of money, but later on gonna make it like double or triple of the money, or like 5 times more expensive than before. But anyways, regarding about the build of my house, the strength of my house, so it was just built with the Japanese firm, with the Japanese engineers. So I was fully confident with that. And when I heard about the news, I was just like, oh, let's just check about the situation of my house. And I was just so super duper grateful and thankful nothing happened to my house. And I was just so, I prayed thoroughly. I prayed and I thank God that nothing happened really to my house. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't need to go back home. I thought I'm going back home. So I thought I'm going to have an emergency flight. But when I checked I already checked the flight actually on that day, on that excuse me, on that specific day. But since I have a work not right now, so I thought, after my work, so should I fly back to the Philippines, or should I just go back to the house, to the Philippines, maybe on the other day, because I don't have any work. Praise the Lord. Yes, you know, but anyways, so I was just planning about that, and I checked the flight schedule, and I checked the available flight, and at the time it was already like only one seat left, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what should I do? Should I buy this one, or should I what? Because it's going to be, you know, sold out, or I couldn't fly anymore on that day. But you know, if it's emergency, of course I can able to just fly anytime I want, so I can just go back home anytime I want. If it's emergency, they cannot help it, you know. I would just tell all my bosses, all the people in my work, that, you know, I have some problem in the Philippines and I need to go back there and check my house, you know. Because it's not a joke, you know. It's not a joke, because I spent a lot of money for my house, and I didn't I work hard for that. You know, I didn't earn it for just like this. You know, I didn't earn it for just one day. I work hard for that. I really save a lot of money for that. So, you know, it's just not just a matter of time. It's just, you know, it didn't happen easily. You know, it's just like for one day you work just for one day. I worked for that money for like 10 years, so I can able to purchase that house actually. So it's really hard to earn that money right now, especially, you know, especially if you focus on the if you especially if you focus on your goal. So right now everything became expensive, you know, little by little everything became expensive. The inflation rate became higher, so you know it's really hard to save a lot of money because everything became, the price goes up, and it's really hard, you know, to just go and focus on your goal and just save a lot of money and don't spend this one. And you can save this one, but you cannot touch this one, because this one is for your house, you know, for your future, for your dream, something like that. So I'm very thankful that I already purchased that house and I don't have problem anymore in my life. So I just keep on going with my life. So what the problem is, just, you know, some problem gonna occur and you're gonna face those problems, but you have to be ready about the future, you know. But sometimes maybe that because of the climate change right now, so everything gonna change. You work hard way to go. Well, yes. I was when I was so young, I don't have any like I was working for 7 days a week actually, even though it was my holiday, I was still working, you know. And I work hard almost a week, like 24/7. I was like for 7 days a week I was like working and working and working hard because at the time my grandmother was still alive at the time, and we don't have our house before we're always under the water when it rains. Even though there was no typhoon, even though there were just a little bit of rain, you know, and flood gonna come to the house, and it was so pretty bad. So every time there's a rain, we couldn't rest in the house. Not like now. I was just sitting here and I was just resting and I was just sleeping all day long when it rains. But during my younger time, when I was small, when I was in Philippines, I always had a bad time during rainy season, because during rainy season we were just like you know, gathering those we just like sweeping away those water, and it was just so hard because all the time we're just like working all night just to remove all the water from our house. So it was just like, so when I first came here in Japan, I studied and I tried to get some job, and then afterwards I got some job and I tried to save a lot of money for the house for my grandmother. It's supposed to be that house that I bought right now. It was supposed to be for my grandmother actually. It was a gift for my grandmother. But since she passed away already, she couldn't see the house anymore. So it's gonna be the house for the family actually. So it's not just for me, just for the our family also. So we can able to just, so if somebody gonna, you know, if my mother gonna go back to the Philippines and just, you know, just visit the Philippines or just wanted to just have some vacation, they can just use my house or just stay in my house, so I can able to just share it to some of my loved ones. But actually that house was dedicated for my grandmother, so she can able to just relax, you know, and spend her time. Or during a rainy season, she cannot, she don't need to just worry about the flood. So but since she couldn't wait for it anymore, so I was a bit sad because she cannot able to see all those hard works that I've done before, because I was really working hard for her. I was just like, she was like, she was my inspiration for that. That's why I was working hard. But since she passed away, when she passed away, I was just like, why I was working hard? Why I'm doing this hard things, like it's nothing. So it was a wake up call for me actually, because at the time I was like, there was no Christmas for me, there was no birthday for me. So even though somebody's birthday, even though it was her birthday, I would just call her. It was just a phone call away from anybody. Like I really don't talk to them. Like I talk to them, you know. But my time was really just so precious and just a short time, you know, because I was so busy working, and I just give them a little bit of time for that, and I would just call them a little bit like, hey, you know, happy birthday. Oh, okay, I'll just drop the phone and I would just go back to my work. And it was so pretty tough. It was just so hectic for me at the time. So everybody was like, hey, you know, you don't have time for my birthday anymore. You don't go back here in the Philippines because it was Christmas. It's my birthday. So I was just like, hold on. I was just like, I'm busy working, you know. I don't have time to spend my money for just to go to the Philippines, spend my vacation there. Or I don't have time for a vacation because I was just busy working. For me, it's like time is gold. So I don't want to waste any of my time for some other things that, you know, I cannot able to earn money. Like time is, for me, time is gold really actually at the time. And my grandmother was like, hey, it's my birthday. So I would just like just call her. I would just call her and just like, okay, don't worry, everything about this one is all about you, but you know, just hang on, I'll go back home. And I didn't tell her everything, like I have a surprise for you. But at the time I was really working on my, you know, on that house. So I just wanna give her the best because I don't wanna purchase a house like I cannot able to pay all of it. Like I don't know, like financing. I will go financing or some loan, or I'll just borrow money from the bank, and then later on I'm gonna be in trouble. I don't want it. So I was just trying to just gather a lot of money, and I can just pay fully paid all the house that I'm going to buy, because of course I can able to just have a loan or just borrow money from the bank because I have a stable job. But I'm always I'm always like, I don't want to have some trouble later on. Like, what if I don't what if I lost my job, like later on, or in the future, or after a few months I lost my job, so I cannot able to pay for the house anymore. So what will happen to the house, right? The bank gonna take it back, or take it back from me. So I'm gonna be in trouble. So I don't want it. I just want to have securely payment for the house, so I can able to just purchase the house with this money, and I can able to buy the whole house, and without any problem anymore. So that's my thinking. So at the time I was still gathering a lot of money for that, and my grandmother never thought about it. So she was just maybe depressed, or she thought I don't have any time for her anymore, and she didn't know it's gonna be our future. It's just gonna be. I didn't tell her. I told her just to hang on, but I didn't tell her the reason why I am doing this, and she didn't know that, just for her. But she didn't know anything about my plans, because I don't want to tell her all my plans, because it's just like, very it's a secret. And because that secret is gonna be a big surprise for her. So I was thinking, if I surprise her with a house, and I will just go back home, and I'm gonna tell her, hey, grandma, I bought something for you. Yeah, it was just like, huh? Like, I thought she would gonna be like that. But things didn't happen that way. But maybe she's the one who pushed me to buy the house right now, because at the time I don't want to purchase any house anymore. I was just like, what should I do with this money? Should I just do it for business or for something? And then I think I don't have anything to do with those money, actually. So I was just pretty much not clear. My mind wasn't clear, so I thought I was just like, oh, what should I do with this money, because I already focused on buying this one. But since she's not here anymore, she's not around here anymore, so what should I do with that? So it's a good thing I bought the house. So it's a pretty good decision, actually. So I don't have a problem with that anymore. It's not an expensive house. It's not a big house, actually. It's just good for a vacation time, for us, just for a family vacation. It's not really a mansion, or a big mansion, or a big house, because I was really thinking about, I just want to have a normal house, like I can able just to clean it easily, and it was just a vacation house. So if the family would just transfer there, so that's the time you can able to just probably expand it, or make it more higher, or anything else. Once you have those money, of course you can just do everything that you want to do in the future. But this time, what important for me is I can able to just buy the house that I can able to afford it. I don't want to purchase a house without thinking I cannot able to purchase it and buy it 100%, because I don't want any loan. I don't want to borrow money from anybody else. I don't want to borrow any money from the bank, because I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about what will gonna happen if I lost my job, if I don't have any work anymore. How can I able to buy it, right? So that's my okay. Time check 8:04. So I need to go right now, guys. So please be careful, okay? Because the climate change is not it's getting really serious. So probably the typhoon gonna be more stronger than before, and it's really happening, especially those people they're cutting trees, especially in Philippines. You know, the mountains gonna be dropping. It's really dropping because instead, you know, instead of making some instead of planting trees, they're cutting the trees and make the surrounding area flat. So of course the water gonna be like, it's not really good. So they're not thinking about the future, you know. They're making subdivision, they're making houses, they're building houses, they're cutting the trees, they flatten the mountains. So what will gonna happen, you know? It's gonna be, yeah, soil erosion. It's not, a lot of landslide gonna happen, you know. There's no proper engineering about the ground. So they have to think about that, you know. They have to think about the underground, the where the circulation of the water. So of course the water gonna should, you know, just circulate and just, you know, it won't gonna it if the water stock, you know, it tends to have some flood, right? So because the flow of the water is not really like accurate, it's not really normal, it's not um in Japanese. What? Kogohai? Oh, okay. But in Japan, there's a proper engineering underground. So there's a there. If there's some flood, the water gonna go under, and then there's some tunnel in the under the ground. So the water gonna go there, and it will just pass through the tunnel, and it will lead them to somewhere else. So the water gonna gather there, and there's no problem with the flood because there's some area that, you know, all the water is gonna gather there. It's like a big tank, or it's a big it's like a park, you know. It's so super mega dike, like super duper big park. So under the park, it was just like, you know, storage of water, flood waters everywhere from the city. So there's no flood happening in Japan. So if they think about that, then, you know, they can avoid those floods and, you know, those things, right? So anyways, because of the government probably, or some, you know, the government should act actually for that. Actually, that's awesome. Yes, you know, just it's a proper engineering, because Japanese people are very intelligent. They think for the future. They don't think for the present. Of course, you have to think for the present. Of course, it's so important. So you can able to think for the future, but also you have to think about the future in the future. Okay, so they're thinking about that. So that's why, you know, that's why Japan is so advanced technology, like 100 years advanced than any other countries. You know, they're so left behind compared to Japan, right? So that's why they always say Japan is the future. You know, you can see the future in Japan because before it happened to your country, it already happening in Japan. It already happened in Japan, and their future, they're thinking about the future is so super duper advanced. You know, oh my god, you're just unbelievable, like, you know. But anyways, you have to be careful about your future, okay, as well. And you have to be careful, guys, okay. So um we cannot tell everything. So that's why, you know, you always pray to God, always pray for your guidance, for your safety. So you have to be safe, okay. And thank you guys for advice. Can you read Japanese language? I can read some of the kanji, of course. I studied by myself. I self-studied by myself, and it really works well, you know, because I nobody gonna teach me about that. So I studied well before, so some of it I can barely understand it, you know. So it really helps with my work as well. So thank you guys for watching my live, and hopefully to see you again on my next live. I'll be on live again. So please do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like this video if you happen to like this video. And thank you guys for hanging out with me. Okay, see you guys in my next live. Bye guys.